Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Carmen with Elemental Designs, and today we're going to be on part number 4 of the Burlap Spine Lapbook. On this part of the process, you are going to see me decorating the remaining panels that are left over. I have an array of all different kinds of images. I'm going to be using some little mini envelopes and all different kinds of ephemera pieces that I have gone ahead and processed. And by process, I mean I've gone ahead and just kind of fuzzy cut all the images that I wanted out. I will be distressing some of them, not all of them. And I'm going to be collaging these onto the panels. And every panel is going to be different. Mainly what I want to do with these ephemera pieces is create pockets and tuck spots for tags or for notes or for anything else that you wish to add. This is a little bit different for me. This is not normally my style of creating, but I must say that I did really enjoy just the oddity of it all, incorporating all of these different pieces that normally my mind would not register as things that would actually go together. But I must admit that it all turned out pretty good. Overall, every panel is very different. Every fold out, every spread is very, very different. And it came out pretty cool. So I'm using some clock pieces that I've cut in half. I'm using these little clock hands to symbolize, that time is in your hands, if you will. You have the power to control your time. Uh, something of that nature. Since nothing gets left behind, I've used all the little pieces that I had left over. And so now you have a tuck spot in the little envelope itself, as well as behind the hand. You also have tuck spots behind each piece of the clock, as well as the faces on that panel. This is another ephemera piece that I have prepared. And I'm using the remaining piece of one of the Graphics 45 journaling cards. I removed the border to create the mini album section on this, and I just felt like I needed to use the entire journaling card, or it was either going to end up getting scrapped or getting lost. So I made an effort to use those in here as well. So as you can see, those are actually there in the mini album section. And so I've added some lace to this little, it's not necessarily a pocket, it's more of a tuck spot. Although I only glue it down on 3 sides, so you can actually go ahead and add something all the way inside that goes all the way to the bottom. Or you can just use it as a basic tuck spot and just kind of tuck something behind the little tag area there. And so again, just distressing some of the pieces, trying to figure out, what other elements I want to add in here, or if I'm completely satisfied. When you're creating these types of books, it's good to grab a variety of images of a variety of things, and just have a nice little pile ready to go, if you will. So if you've decided on your colors or your theme, and you already have the images ready to go, then just get everything processed and ready to go. That way, all you have to do is let your imagination take over as you go decorating things little by little. I tried as best as I could to have most of the images already, fuzzy cut it out and have everything kind of ready to go. So I can just add little bits and pieces there that kind of felt right as I wished. Now, these little banner pieces are purely decorative. They don't necessarily serve a purpose. But you can feel free to journal something on there. That's my husband's hands giving thumbs up. For those of you that don't know, my husband, Sazon and Crafts, is also here on YouTube, crafting and creating. He does a lot of vintagey art journal pages, as well as tags. So he's really into that. So definitely go and check him out and show him some YouTube love. Again, his name is Sazon and Crafts. And that's Sazon and Crafts. So again, some more little clock pieces here. I have quite a little collection of these little clocks. And what's awesome about them is that I can pretty much print them out in any size that I want and or need. So I decided to print them out in little smaller forms, since I knew that I was going to be working on small sections of the panels. So in this little area here, my thought process behind that was, how we end up going on dates, or just like family events or something, fun like that. Then this little area here with the fork and the spoon can be used to either write down your weekly, little memo areas for dinner, lunch, so on and so forth, or just add some kind of memorabilia. On the other panel, what I'm doing now is vintaging up a little bit more some of these little mini envelopes, and these I got from overseas, and just adding a little bit of distress in them, dirtying them up a little bit. And I'm going to use these like little pockets for this page here, so that you can go ahead and just continue to add even more little things, be it a little receipt or movie tickets or whatever the case may be, but continue to add a little bit more of the memorabilia. And all of these little areas here are going to have little ephemera pieces that I'm going to go ahead and add inside. Now, I had what they call a brain fart, right? I wasn't really sure which way I wanted to do this page. I was starting to like run out of ideas, you guys. What went well with the other two panels that I had? What kind of made sense with that? So you're gonna kind of see me going through the process of just trying to figure out what this page is gonna look like. And I had printed out a whole bunch of like little mini ephemera pages. Some are music notes, some are like little letters, book pages, little tiny little book pages. And here I'm just kind of jagging the edges up to make them look even more distressed once I add the ink and make them look a little bit more worn out. And here I'm going to create a nice little kind of flowing panel there. And this page actually came out pretty cool, because what ended up happening, and this kind of happened quite by accident, is that it ended up turning into like a hidden kind of tuck spot, just because of the way that all the papers were laid out. And here I've decided already what I wanted to do with this. I've gone in and printed out some more images. So pretty much I start layering these out, gluing them only on either two sides, so that I leave most of that pocket kind of open, creating more or less of a pocket area. And just gluing everything just partly to each other, gluing everything partly to the one before it or the one after it, so that it's not sticking itself to the actual panel, but allowing itself to be open, so that I can tuck a little, tag, a picture, whatever the case may be, but allowing that to continue to be open. Now, with the rest of these, I'm going to go ahead and glue these on directly onto the panel, and it just makes it kind of look like it's one continuous panel. You can't really tell just by looking at it that there's actually a tuck spot there, which at the end I really like the way that this page kind of came out. Now, after this video here, you guys, I have one more video to share with you guys. And the next one I think is going to be a rather quick one, because it's actually the cover and what I end up doing to the cover, which you guys have not seen yet. And actually how I end up creating a closure, a way to close the book up. So that'll be the next video that's going to come up after this. And then we'll be all done with this process, you guys. As I mentioned before, if you want to slow this video up, just go to the settings area and you can just slow the process of this video down. So again, trying to figure out what to do. I have a lot of different steampunkish styled kind of images. Some of them are in color, some of them are in vintagey kind of colors, and some of them are in black and white, like is the case with this one. And so I tried to distress it a little bit, but overall I end up not using it. But I just wanted to show you the process of it and just let you know that it is actually quite all right. The creative process is unpredictable, and sometimes mentally you'll think that things will work and then they just don't happen to do so, and that's quite all right. But again, this is why I tell you guys to kind of just get a whole bunch of images together, get a whole bunch of ephemera, process and fuzzy cut all different kinds of things. Leave some things whole, fuzzy cut some images out, because you never really know how some things are going to work. So here, I really like this this panel, because by first looking at it, you'll say, okay, she's a bird brain because she's got this dome with a bird on it. But the reality is that that's not the idea behind it. The idea behind this piece is actually um, to just think about beauty in its simplest form, something like a bird singing or just, butterflies, something simple of that nature, just nature in itself. So that's really what the idea process was for this, to give her something pretty to think about. So, yes. And I really like the way that this came out as well. Like, this was really challenging, you guys. Normally, when I do my lap books, it's a very, very different kind of style. Um, and this one, I kind of incorporated a little bit of all the things that I like into it. And I tried to see if there was a way that I can kind of marry all of them together. And I think for the most part, I succeeded. I don't know, you guys tell me. But I really did like the way that this thing came out. Overall, it's very different than anything I've done before, so definitely challenging. The construction of it wasn't challenging because, like I said, I apply my knowledge of flipbooks and just how I've created flipbooks from the beginning, and that's kind of how I kind of go about them, just in a smaller scale. So on that aspect, it wasn't challenging at all, but just filling these things up and just seeing what works with what, that was definitely challenging. Um, and I'm glad I stuck it out because I almost gave up on it a few times, but I'm glad I stuck it out. And this is pretty much the result of all that work and all that printing, you guys. Oh my, all that printing. So a little bit of everything in here. Super, super cool. And I hope that you guys have liked these videos. And I plan to do more shares. If I come up with a different kind of style on creating them, then I'll share that as well as I go along. But for the most part, all of my things do tend to be a little bit different from each other. So that's just kind of how it works out. I do hope that you guys have enjoyed this. Definitely give me a thumbs up for all my hard work, you guys. If you haven't subscribed, then please do so. Definitely leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. And I will catch you guys on the next one.